love this city. Everything about it. Food, culture, heritage, people, or how they complete each other. It's like the city is made for young people to learn and to be creative. In this mesmerizing city, I'm glad to be here. I love this city. Everything about it. Food, culture, heritage, people, or how they complete each other. It's like the city is made for young people to learn and to be creative. In this mesmerizing city, I'm glad to be here.
For years, Amikom has tried to make a suitable place for their students to feel more enjoyment in their learning process. We believe that learning is not something that the students should do, but it should be something that they want to do. That's why we always support everything that relates to creative and fun learning activities. It is the essential idea of creativity, associating fun and learning all together.
One thing that I love about this university is that they allow us to experiment and try to make new things. It's okay to make mistakes and learn from them. So that's why they built so many facilities, labs, and also they have professional companies. We call it Professional Lab. We can experience what it is like to be in the real industry, what we need to be, the attitude, the skills, and everything that makes us valuable out there. It's like we are well prepared for something big.
When I first got here, I was completely full of worries. Not because of entering a new phase, but about the future. I wasn't sure of what I was supposed to do at that time. But it turns out that everybody does the same. And Amikom made it easier for me. Everybody supports each other. The lecturers, staffs, employees, and all of my friends, they are so lovely. We have sport activities and great facilities. The cafeteria is clean and neat. And the foods, they are delicious. We are like coming into a big family.
If you are a person that into creative things, I recommend you to come here to feel the atmosphere.
Enjoy the fun with the combination of nature, the city, and romance.
Join us and let this place reveal the best of you.
Come on, join Universitas Amikom Yogyakarta.
Namaku Aji Saka dari negeri Majeti.
Nun jauh di timur, ada sebuah negeri yang bertahtakan Ratna Mutu Manikam bernama Medang Kamulan. Kemakmuran negeri tersebut kemudian membawa keserakahan bagi rajanya yang bernama Prabu Dewata Cengkar. Di balik kekuasaannya yang tanpa batas, sang raja sangat gelisah dikarenakan adanya ramalan tentang seorang anak bangsa manusia yang kelak akan menaklukkan dan menggantikannya menjadi raja.
Nusantara yang gemah ripah loh jinawi, angkara durjana merusak negari. Penderitaan manusia tak terperi.
Kamu
Doa
sudah
dan
siap
harapan untuk
menghadapi
sang
Dewa
penyelamat bumi.
Pusaka sakti ini aku percayakan padamu. Apapun yang terjadi, jangan pernah kamu berikan pada siapapun, kecuali aku sendiri yang mengambilnya.
Bangkitlah, kalahkan angkara durjana, bawa negeri.
Pergilah ke Majeti, ambil pusaka itu di padepokanmu. Jangan pernah kembali jika tidak bersama pusaka itu.
Sekitar jauh, Paduka.
Harus menangani perang besar melawan diri sendiri. dan takluk pada jiwa suci yang rendah hati.
Cek. Cek ya. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Apakah suara saya terdengar? Belum ya?
Terdengar, Kak.
Oh, terdengar ya. Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi semuanya. Salam sejahtera. Shalom, namo buddhaya, salam kebajikan. Selamat datang di webinar internasional Universitas Amikom Yogyakarta collaborate with Chandigarh University from India. And today, before we start, I said Happy New Year to all of you in here. Hope all of you get all the good things, happiness and healthiness. So maybe we can meet each other in person in Universitas Amikom Yogyakarta. So, but before we start today, I want to share with you about this rundown to this webinar. For the first, we have a welcoming speech from Professor Dr. Kusrini Amikom, and then for the session 1, we have a speaker, Mrs. Nitika Kapoor, Assistant Professor Department of CSA at Chandigarh University, India, with the topic Vehicular Adhoc Network Security and Routing, and with the host Mbak Gardias Bidari. Yeah. And the next is the session 2. We have a speaker, Mr. Alfa Hendi Muhammad, STM and PhD, Secretary of Master of Informatics Engineering of Distance Learning Program of Amikom University, with the topic Artificial Intelligence for Cybersecurity. So today we have a schedule until 11 a.m. And then we have a sharing session and also question and answer session. Okay. Now we start for this webinar. I will welcoming to our Director of Graduate Program of Informatics Amikom University. So please welcome Professor Dr. Kusrini Amikom.
Okay, thank you Mbak Rona. Selamat pagi semua.
Pagi.
Pagi, Prof.
Boleh saya sambil share screen ya?
Boleh, silahkan Prof.
Ya, oke. Okay, yeah. Dear our today's speaker, Ms. Nitika, Pak Alfa, good morning.
Good morning, Prof. Rini.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for your willing to share your knowledge and experience to all of us. Yeah, all of the participants, lecturers, students, and everyone that follow this webinar via Zoom or YouTube channel. Thank you for your attention. And hopefully today we'll get many new insight from both of the speaker, Ms. Nitika Pulkapur from Chandigarh University, and also from Pak Dr. Alfa Hendi Muhammad. Okay, Ms. Nitika is my best friend. It's my best friend from Indonesia. Yeah, we met in February 2020 in the first stage of pandemic Corona. Yeah, after accompanied Indonesia delegation visiting university and universities in South India. I alone then visited Chandigarh University, which is in North India, to give a talk in a week. Yeah, a week to master students about machine learning. Yeah, when I was there, I'm really happy because Ms. Nitika, others faculty members and students entertain me well. They appreciate my class. They are seriously giving attention to my lesson, and even after that activity, then we collaborate to make publication. Yeah, and yes, this is one of the publication with student of Chandigarh University, and this one is between student of Amikom, me and Miss Nitika. Yeah, yeah, when I was there, I felt that I have new family, yeah, in the faraway place. In that time, we planned for Miss Nitika visitation to Indonesia. Unfortunately, after arrive in Indonesia, situation getting worse, and it's not easy for us to move from one country to others. So yeah, we keep our relationship by giving benefit from each other with many activities online. Yeah, this one is a collaboration between Amikom and Chandigarh in online. This one as well. Yeah, and beside with Chandigarh University, yes, this program is a regular program that is conducted by Amikom to improve knowledge, and then not only from lecturer but also from our partners. Yeah, this is another joint that we had collaboration with professor from Japan, from Malaysia, and then we also collaborate with Silicon Valley Innovation Center, and this one from Australia, yeah, lecturer from Australia, and this one is our collaboration with Spain, yeah, Murcia, Spain. We do teaching collaboration, teaching mobility. Our lecturer teach in Spain, Murcia, and then the lecturer from Spain, Murcia also teach here. And because of this program, we also have opportunity not only the teacher but also student. Ya, ini teman-teman semua ya. Jadi tidak hanya dosennya yang bisa berkolaborasi begitu, tapi juga mahasiswanya. This is the example of our student ya, mahasiswa dari master program. Beberapa dari mereka itu diberikan beasiswa oleh Erasmus ya, Erasmus Eropa. Semua biaya transportasi, biaya pendidikan selama 6 bulan, termasuk biaya hidup itu ditanggung begitu ya. Pulang masih bawa oleh-oleh begitu ya. Dan ini kesempatan untuk keliling Eropa. And you know, from Indonesia, the only one master degree that get opportunity of this program is only Amikom. Ya, jadi untuk seluruh Indonesia itu yang mendapatkan kesempatan untuk beasiswa dari Erasmus itu hanya dari Amikom. Okay, kemudian we also invite another speakers like this. This is Mr. Professor Ibrul from Queen Mary University of London, UK, and Dr. Krishna Chandramoli from the same university. They gave us some knowledge experience about how to write, and then after that we make collaboration publication ya. Setelah kita ketemu seperti ini ya, seperti Miss Nitika yang akan memberikan materi, kemudian ini tidak hanya selesai sampai materi, and then we will continue with make collaboration, publication collaboration, dan ini sudah menghasilkan publikasi di jurnal Q1, kemudian di conference ya, sampai kita punya beberapa hak cipta begitu ya. And after that, they invite us ya, mereka membawa kami dalam sebuah konsorsium yang besar begitu ya. We join with Silvanus program. This collaboration is between 49 institution. Jadi 49 institusi dari 18 negara ya, from 18 countries from Uni Eropa, and then Brazil, Australia, and Indonesia. And again, Amikom become the only one institution that come from Indonesia. This collaboration start from this year ya, the end of last year. Jadi Desember 2021 selama 4 tahun ke depan, sehingga ini kita bisa memberikan kesempatan selama 4 tahun ke depan beberapa kolaborasi penelitian internasional, including some scholarship ya for research students ya, baik itu nanti di master maupun sebentar lagi kita akan membuka S3, nanti beberapa mahasiswa S3 itu kita libatkan dan nanti akan mendapatkan pembiayaan dari penelitian kolaborasi antara Indonesia dengan Uni Eropa ini. Yes, so after this meeting, hopefully you can keep contact with Miss Nitika, Pak Alfa ya, to get more collaboration, not only from this meeting, but also setelah ini tuh mau ngapain gitu ya, apa yang bisa dikerjakan. Itu saya rasa itu lebih penting. Yeah, and then our second speaker is Dr. Alpha. He will discuss about computer security. It's related with one of course in master degree. Ya, kita punya mata kuliah namanya Cybersecurity, and I think this is an important topic. While in recent days, all of us addicted with technology. Ya, semua kita ini sangat bergantung pada teknologi. Rasanya kalau nggak pegang gadget, rasanya kalau nggak pakai aplikasi itu rasanya hampa dunia ini begitu ya. So we want to use technology every day, every time begitu. But we have to aware with the security issue that will ruin our comfort ya. Kalau kita menggunakan teknologi ini tanpa memperhatikan keamanannya, maka ini bukannya keuntungan ya, bukannya beruntung tapi malah buntung begitu ya. Kita tidak bisa mendapatkan keuntungan dari apa yang kita gunakan. So yeah. And Pak Alpha is the study program secretary of distance learning Magister Informatics Engineering. Ya, Amikom is the only one university that has a license from ministry to help full online in Magister Informatics. Ya, kita mendapatkan izin dari pemerintah, satu-satunya perguruan tinggi di Indonesia untuk program master di bidang informatika yang diizinkan oleh pemerintah untuk menyelenggarakan full online, begitu ya. Nah, if you want to join in our study program, you will meet Pak Alpha, ya. And consider this moment, we are open the student registration. Pas banget ini ya. Sekarang ini pada saat masa registrasi. Jadi kalau teman-teman yang sudah lulus ya, itu nanti bisa join. Miss Nitika, Pak Alpha, and all, my apologies. I will follow this meeting online, this webinar online. Mobile, because I have to accompany my little son to get vaccine in his school. Jadi nanti saya akan sambil keliling ya Pak, saya akan mengikuti tapi nggak bisa in charge di kantor gitu ya. And for the committee, Mbak Putri, Mbak Rona, Mbak Andra, and other member teams, thank you very much for your hard work so that this event can be held this moment. Hopefully everything will be running well. Have nice seminar. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Mrs. Kusrini. Terima kasih sekali atas sambutannya. So, kita akan lanjutkan lagi for the next session. We have a beautiful speaker, and she is a best friend of Prof. Kusrini, bestie, ya kan? But before we start for the session one, I will give this event to my bestie. Kalau ini bestie saya, Kak Gardias Bidari Adninda. Silakan Kak Gardias. Halo, selamat pagi.
Pagi.
Apa kabar?
Sudah jelas ya, Mbak?
Sudah jelas.
Oke, baik.
Apakah ini dari kantor?
Iya, betul. Kelihatan dari belakang.
Iya, itu udah color palette-nya Amikom ya.
Okay, thank you very much, Mbak Rona. Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm giving you a warm welcome to International Webinar Amikom 2022. So I believe that the topic today is about network security. And I'm giving you a warm welcome to our speakers, Al-Fahini Muhammad and Nitika Kapur. Good morning. And Prof. Kusrini. And also all of the lecture committees and all the audience today. So we will start a very special session. And also we have a special guest far away from Indonesia. And before we start, please allow me to read your CV. Okay. So we have a special guest today from Chandigarh University. She is an assistant professor in computer science and engineering, and she's been working for 15 years. Presently, she's working as a coordinator of postgraduate courses as an assistant professor in Department of Computer Science, Chandigarh University, and working several duties as a facilitating aptech students, member of POS, department coordinator for master students, conduct of industrial visit or expert lecturer for students, design and preparation of institute souvenirs for passing out students, organizing member for international faculty development program, and as well as having several research publications, international journals, international conference and national conference. And I believe that she is a very talented lecturer, having an awarded as a best teacher of the department in 2021. Okay, without further ado, please welcome Nitika Kapoor. Good morning. How are you?
A very good morning, ma'am. I'm good. How are you?
I'm great too. We are very glad to having you here. And all of the audience, I believe they cannot wait to discuss about your topic today. And I believe that you will be deliver a topic about vehicular ad hoc networks, security and routing.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So you will have around 45 minutes from now. And if you are ready, you
Yes.
can start from now.
Okay.
Yours.
Thank you. So, a very beautiful morning to all of you. I really thank Dr. Kusrini ma'am and her team for giving me the opportunity to be one of the experts and speaker for this webinar. I feel delighted to address the students of University of Amikom. I would rather extend my gratitude to a wonderful lady, Dr. Kusrini, for always being ready to take initiatives to collaborate with Chandigarh University. And we definitely at Chandigarh University look forward for such collaborations in future too. So without taking much time, I would seek your permission to start the talk. And I hope the students of Amikom would definitely be benefited out of it. So let's start. Let me share the screen. I hope my screen is visible. Let me start with the slideshow. Okay, so let's start. So today I'm going to deliver the talk on vehicular ad hoc network security and routing in vehicular ad hoc networks. Okay. So these would be the contents that I'm going to take you through. First of all, we'll see what are the ad hoc networks, how we can classify ad hoc networks, and what is the need of VANETs? Why do we need vehicular ad hoc networks? Then the introduction and its components, the applications where the VANETs are used, what type of communications we can have in VANETs, and the characteristics, routing and security issues in VANETs. And yes, in the end, we are going to take a little quiz of not more than 2 to 3 questions just to check the basic understandings of the students. Okay, so first of all, before moving on to my first slide, I would like to ask you, what is a network? What do you mean by network? Network can be any connection between the nodes. Like, let me just take one example. So if this is you, your friend, his friend, then his friend. Okay. So if this is your friend, A is a friend of B, and B is a friend of C, and C is a friend of D. So can we call it as a network? Yes, I would appreciate if the students respond. You can answer the queries in the chat box. Okay. So yes, definitely it's a network. This is a network of friends, right? So whenever two nodes are being connected, that forms a network. What is the need of network? Why do we need? What can be the benefit out of it? See, the very important benefit would be the information sharing. You can share your information with the friends. He can share the information with his friend and so on. If you talk about Facebook, Facebook is network of friends, right? So network is the connection between the nodes. Now, what is ad hoc networks now? Let us move to our next slide. Okay. So what is ad hoc network? As the name suggests, ad hoc. Ad hoc means something which is temporary. So the network which is being formed temporary for just a time being information sharing, that is a ad hoc network. And if you talk about, let's say in class, you have your mobile and your friend has a mobile and you pair your mobiles to transfer the information, that is ad hoc network. And once you leave the class, your network gets you can say you end the network. So that was just temporary, and the temporary means ad hoc network. So the ad hoc network can be formed between the mobile devices, or it can be formed between the laptops, or it can be formed within a between a vehicles also, right? So I'll say that ad hoc network is just a temporary type of local area network that is being formed as a local area network. I hope I'm clear till now. So moving on to the classification of networks, we have various classes of ad hoc networks. We may form ad hoc networks between the mobile devices, and such type of network is called mobile ad hoc network. So the mobile ad hoc network, and we sometimes call it as MANET, is nothing but the ad hoc network that is being formed between the mobile devices. Then second type of network is that we are going to focus on today is vehicular ad hoc network. This network is being formed in ad hoc manner only between the vehicles for the information sharing among the vehicles. We'll see later on that what benefit we are going to get from these type of networks. Then comes the wireless mesh networks. This network is formed between the mesh networks wirelessly. Okay, and then is the smartphone ad hoc network. We sometimes call it as PANs. That this is what I just discussed before. That when you're forming a network between your mobile phones without using the carrier network, that is smartphone ad hoc network. So this we won't be discussing. We would be mainly focusing on this network. Okay. Then one more type of ad hoc network we can have is wireless sensor network. As the name suggests, it is going to sense something. It is a kind of a network where the sensor nodes are there, and they can sense the temperature, the motion, or humidity, the traffic, and other parameters. So wireless sensor network is a network where we have sensor nodes. Okay, so let's move. What is the need to study wireless? Why do we need it? Any idea? See, everyone in this today's world possess a car or a vehicle, right? And every one of us is moving from one place to another place using our vehicle, right? So the biggest problem with us when we are traveling on the road is the safety of life, right? So valet is a network formed between the vehicles that is going to assist us in our safety, in the safety of drivers. Okay. So the biggest problem with the cars that we are driving, let me just go back. Okay. Yes. Right. So when it's are going to allow the vehicles to share the information among themselves, and definitely what we are going to get out of it is the safety on the road, and our because our lives are involved in that, right? So this is the basic needs why we are going to discuss planets. Now let's look at something about planets. First of all, I'll say VANET is just a subset or a subclass of mobile ad hoc network. What are mobile ad hoc networks? The networks that are formed, ad hoc network that is being formed within the mobile devices. For example, I am having a mobile, you are having a mobile, and some other person is having a mobile, and we formed a network. Now we are also moving. We will be moving randomly in any direction. this device would also be moving, this device would also be moving, right? So there are some challenges while forming such type of ad hoc networks. We'll see later on what will be the challenges. So mobile ad hoc network is the ad hoc network being formed between the mobile devices, and when it is just a subclass of subnetworks. Okay. Regular ad hoc network provides communication between the vehicles, and one more thing is involved over here is a roadside unit. What is a roadside unit? They are just the base stations that are installed along the roadsides. They are kind of infrastructure for the van. Okay, so there are two things being involved in the VANETs. One is the roadside unit, and second is the vehicles that are moving on the road. Okay, then definitely the challenge to us in VANETs is that the vehicles are moving at very high speed. One vehicle is moving towards one direction, the other vehicle is moving towards the other direction. So this is going to be the main challenge for us when we talk about VANETs. And this causes the dynamic topology. Dynamic topology means topology is the connection. Dynamic means the connections which are going to change very frequent. Why? Because the vehicles are moving at very high speed. Okay. And in VANETs, there are going to be two components. One is vehicle, other is the roadside unit. You can see over here from the picture, we have vehicles or cars, and we do have the roadside units also. So these are the roadside units. Let's move. Okay, what can be the components of VANETs? There are two components, as I just mentioned. The first component is going to be the roadside unit, and the second component is going to be the onboard unit. What is this onboard unit? Onboard unit helps us to communicate with the vehicle. Basically, this is installed on your vehicle only. This is a computing device that is present on the vehicle only. And second is roadside units that is installed along the roadside. And the basic purpose of roadside unit is to extend the range of network. For example, if I have a vehicle over here, I have another vehicle over here, I have another vehicle over here, and this is another. This is the roadside unit. This is the roadside unit. If this vehicle wants to communicate with this vehicle, but this vehicle is not in range of this vehicle, they are quite far. Now, this vehicle can communicate with this roadside unit, and since the roadside units are the strong infrastructure, and so they can further communicate among themselves. So this roadside unit would connect with this roadside unit, and this roadside unit will be communicating with this vehicle because this falls in the range of this roadside unit, right? So in this way, this vehicle can communicate with this vehicle using the roadside units. So they are basically used to extend the range of the network. And obviously, the another benefit of having roadside unit is raising warning to the vehicles about accidents. For example, this roadside unit came to know that the accident has taken place somewhere near to this area, this area. So this roadside unit will broadcast the message to all the vehicles in his range that do not follow this path because there is some accident that has taken place on this road, right? So it is preventing the drivers to enter the accident area. Okay, so this is another benefit of having roadside unit. And third benefit is that it can provide the network connectivity. How? When it behave as a router, it can provide us the internet connectivity too. Let's go forward. Let me just erase all this. Let's wait. I'm not going. Yes. Okay. So the next is about the components we have studied. Then comes the applications, where the VANETs can be used. See, VANET has numerous of applications. They are having n number of applications. The very first application is the safety application. As I mentioned, it is going to provide us the safety. It gives us the real-time traffic information. It is going to give us the post-crash notification. It is going to tell us if any road hazard has taken place. And it also provides the driver assistance. How? The very basic is platooning. What is platooning? Platooning is, have you ever seen the army vehicles going in a line, and one vehicle is just the head of all these vehicles? That is platooning. When one vehicle is the head of all the vehicles follow the head vehicle, that is platooning. So it is one of the application of planets. It also help in location of the parking. Then it also provides us the entertainment, infotainment. It provides the information, and it also provides, you can watch music, you can watch videos, and it also provides automatic traffic notation. It gives us the weather notification if some area is facing some snow, or the roads are blocked due to snow, then it is going to notify us. So that is the application of VANETs. Now, communication in VANETs. Okay, so we can have two type of communications in network, VANET, vehicular ad hoc network. One is vehicle to vehicle, and second is vehicle to infrastructure. So we sometimes call it as V2V and V2I. V2V communication take place between two vehicles. V2V communication is not, or you can say it's not permanent. Once the vehicle moves out of the range of other vehicle, the communication gets stopped. Obviously, if let's say if this vehicle was communicating with this vehicle, and this vehicle is moving in this direction, and this vehicle is moving in this direction, definitely after some time they are going to lose their connection and their communication will stop. Then second type of communication is vehicle to infrastructure. That is when the vehicle is communicating with the roadside unit, that becomes a vehicle to infrastructure communication. Okay, so let's move. So this is how the vehicular ad hoc network looks like. This is the source vehicle. This is the source vehicle, and this is the destination vehicle. So this is destination and this is source. These are the roadside units. I will not waste much time on this. Right. Then comes the characteristics of planets. There are many characteristics that are the challenge and the you can say advantage of vehicular ad hoc network. The very first is predictable mobility. Since the vehicles are moving, not moving randomly, they can majorly move in the forward or the backward direction. So we can predict the mobility of a vehicle, right? But if I talk about mobile ad hoc network, the vehicle can move in any direction, in south, north, east, west, northeast direction, any direction. But in case of vehicle, definitely the vehicle will be majority moving in the forward or the backward direction. So we can predict the mobility of a vehicle. Second is it forms a large scale network. It is a very bigger network. Why? Because if the vehicles are spread out at a bigger distance, then variable network density. This is the major concern. See, if I talk about today in morning time, then the density of the vehicles on road is quite high, right? Because most of us are moving to our offices and the universities. So the density of the vehicle is quite high. But if I talk about the midnight scenario, only very few vehicles would be moving on the road and maximum of the persons would be there at their homes. So the network density plays a major role in vehicular ad hoc network. If there are lesser number of vehicles on the road, definitely the lesser chances of communication, but In dense network, we get a major chances of communication. And one more added advantage of the regular ad hoc network over mobile ad hoc network is they do not have any power constraint. But if I talk about that you are forming a mobile network, you have connected your mobile with your friend's mobile, then you have a constraint of your battery. Your phone may discharge after some time, but we have limitless power supply when we talk about cars because they can charge themselves, right? Now, another characteristic is dynamic network topology. Since the vehicles are moving so fast, so the topology of the network keeps on changing very fastly and very abruptly. So this is the main challenge where the planet is lacking, and most of the research is going on this, how to make the topology of a network stable, how to make such a topology that the packets are not lost. I hope you understand what are the packets. Packets are the smallest unit of information. Now, high computational ability is definitely due to onboard units that are present in the cars. Our regular ad hoc networks have very high computational ability. Then coming to the very important point, that is security and privacy. See, regular ad hoc network basically deals with they are going to face two challenges: security and privacy. These are the utmost important. If our network is not secure, if some malicious vehicle is sending us false information about some accidents or some clear road and actually it is not, then we are going to, our life is in danger and we may face serious consequences. So these are the two things, two challenges with the regular ad hoc networks, that the security and privacy actually depends on it. Now, the most important, as I mentioned, that the OBU unit, which is going to be the computational device for vehicle ad hoc network, it is having a limited battery life. But the same was not true in managed. In managed, your phones, your laptops have a limited battery life. They need charging after some time. So they face the challenge over here. But energy consumption is never a challenge in regular ad hoc network. Okay. So we can categorize the routing protocols in VANET as they can be topology based, they can be geographically based routing, they can be cluster based routing, right? So first of all, I must tell you what is a routing. Routing, what is a route? See, route is the path that will be decided by a vehicle to disseminate the information to another vehicle. Obviously, for communicating among two vehicles, you must decide a path, and the path would be decided by the various routing protocols that we are having in regular talk network. So there are various categories. Our routing protocol can decide the route on the basis of topology. They can decide the route on the basis of geographical area, or they may decide on the basis of cluster-based routing. So I'll just brief you about these routings. Topology-based routing is, it actually works on the connection. Topology means how the vehicles are connected. Let me just write over here. If this is my one vehicle, if this is my second vehicle, this is third, and this is fourth. If these vehicles are connected among themselves using the bus topology, then the topology says that they all are connected with a single path, right? So such topologies, such routing algorithms, which are exploring the topology of the network, they work on the topology of network, are known as topology-based routing. So these routing protocol use the link information that exists as a set of connection to perform packet forwarding. This vehicle will only forward the packet to this vehicle if they are connected. If there is no link between these two vehicles, this vehicle cannot communicate with this vehicle, right? Then comes the geographical based routing. This is the most important type of routing. Geographical area. What do you mean by geographical area? The coordinates of a vehicle where the vehicle is moving currently forms the geographical coordinates, or you can say its exact position on the GPS system would decide where the vehicle is moving. So when the routing is based upon the geographical position, when we make the routing decisions based on the geographical position of vehicles, that routing becomes a geographical based routing. So geographical routing is a routing that relies on the geographical position information, or we sometimes call it as GIS of vehicle. Then is a cluster-based routing. Most of the research is going on over here also. Cluster-based routing, basically what happens, if I take the example of your class, there might be different clusters, there might be different groups in your class. And if, let's say, every group has formed a group head, and if, let's say, let me take over here. So if this is a group, one group of friends, and this is another group of friends, and this is the head of these friends, and this person is the head of these friends. So when communication has to take place among these two groups, the cluster heads are going to communicate among themselves and then pass on the information to their group members. Similar is the cluster-based routing. When your vehicles are forming a clusters, your vehicles are moving in a cluster, and the communication-based decisions are taken by the cluster heads. That is cluster-based routing. The network is divided into cluster, and cluster head of each cluster communicate with other cluster heads. And if the cluster heads, now here the challenge comes. If the cluster head of one cluster, obviously it's a vehicle, it's not a person. If we talk about vehicle or ad-hoc network, it's a vehicle, it's not a person. And vehicle would definitely be moving. Let's say this was my vehicle and this was a cluster, and this vehicle was in this cluster, and this vehicle is moving in this direction, and this vehicle is moving in this direction. Then definitely they are going to depart from each other very soon, right? So this is the main challenge for regular ad-hoc network. So most of the research is going on how the cluster head should be selected, that it remains in the cluster for a longer period of time. And if the cluster head is remaining in a cluster for a longer period of time, definitely it is not going to improve the performance of our network. If the cluster head is departing from the cluster, definitely if this cluster head was sending the packet to this cluster head, but this has already left the network, then these packets could be lost. So this is the challenge of cluster head selection in such a way that the packet loss does not take place in a network, and the performance of network is not, you can say, degraded. I hope you people are there with me. I'm not, the session is not going to bore. Okay, I'll go ahead. Okay. Then I'm going to discuss the important routing protocol, that is ad hoc on-demand distance vector routing protocol. This is basically used for the route selection. This protocol is reactive or on-demand. We call it as reactive protocol or on-demand protocol. Why? Because it looks or it forms the route only if actually required. It will not pre-compute the route. Whenever the data communication wants to take place, it would be forming a route. It would be searching for a route. If no data needs to be transmitted, it will not search for the route. That's why the name routing protocol, on-demand routing protocol. Right? Okay. Fine. It does not create any extra traffic, as I have mentioned that it is not going to populate the network with the extra traffic. The routes would be generated only if required. Then is route request. It it works on the concept of route request and route response. Whenever the route is being required to be built, it will send a route request packet, and it will get the sending vehicle. Let's say if this vehicle wants to communicate with this vehicle, so this vehicle would be sending the route request, and this vehicle would be sending the route response. And the advantage of ADOB is AODB is that it actually works for the dynamic network, because even if the network is changing frequently, since the network route would be decided only on demand, so even if the changes in the network have taken place, the fresh path would be considered. And disadvantage of AODB is, yes, obviously while sending a packet, we are every time doing the route discovery process. So some delay is there in the network due to route request and route response process. And obviously we are sending in extra information in the form of route request and route reply. So high bandwidth would be required by AODB protocol. Right? So let's move further. Now coming to the point of security environment. Now, the major concern of vehicular ad hoc network. See, the information about the vehicles and the drivers must be exchanged very securely, and more importantly, it should be exchanged timely in such a way that delay may not cause any serious consequences to the collision of vehicles or the life of vehicles. Because why security is important? Because the human lives are involved over here. In dynamic nature, due to dynamic nature and high mobility of the vehicular ad hoc network, the wireless media is required, which makes planets more vulnerable to attacks. Since we are using wireless communication, so there are more chances of attacks in planets. Now, there can be 3 types of attacks. Yes, someone is annotating on the screen. Okay. So various attack in Venice, there are 3 type of categories of attack. The attack can be made on the availability, on the confidentiality, and the authenticity. What do you mean by availability? See, availability means the resource must be present. If the resource is not made available to us, we say that availability has been compromised. For example, I'm driving a vehicle and I need the status of the traffic on a particular road. So if that information is not made available to me on time, then I'll say that availability factor has been compromised. Second is the confidentiality. Confidentiality means the information should be sent in such a way that it must be kept confidential. No third vehicle should be able to read what has been sent to me. For example, if this is my vehicle and this is another vehicle and this is the attacker's vehicle, this is where the attacker is sitting. So if I'm sending information to this vehicle and the attacker is reading what I have sent this message to the vehicle, if the attacker is able to read my message, then this confidentiality is not achieved. Confidentiality means the message that is being sent should only be read by the intended receiver. Nobody else should be able to read that message. Then is attack on authenticity. Authenticity means like when you log into your Google account, you provide your authenticity. Now you are being checked for authenticity. You provide your username, you provide your password. So you know the password proves that it's you who is going to log into the particular Google account. So if authenticity, if some other vehicle, this vehicle says that I am A vehicle, but it is Z vehicle, then yes, it is showing to this vehicle that it is A, but it is actually Z. So I'll say that the authenticity is being lost. So there has been attack on the authenticity. right? So let me just clear. Okay. Let me take eraser. Just a second. Okay. Now let us discuss various attacks, various categories of attacks. The first type of attack is denial of service attack. This is attack on availability. As the name suggests, the service would not be made available. The service is denied to the legitimate user, then it is denial of service attack. What happens in denial of service attack? It tries to prevent the legitimate user, the actual user, from accessing the network services and network resources. How we can stop a particular legitimate user from using the network service? When we jam the channel on which he is communicating. So jamming the channel system so that no authentic vehicle can access it will actually give rise to denial of service attack. So what the attacker does is it jams the channel so that no authentic vehicle can actually use the network or the resource for sending the information to another vehicle. So that is what happens in denial of service attack. And we actually overwhelm, we are overloading the network in such a way that actual operation cannot be performed. So overwhelming the node resource so that it cannot perform the necessary task, which becomes, which results in making the network busy, and due to which the vehicle would not be able to do anything. Or knowingly dropping the packets also is denial of service attack. Then comes, yes, then is distributed denial of services attack, or we sometimes call it as DDoS attack. It is more severe attack than DOS attack, that is the denial of service attack. Why? Basically, in the denial of service attack, single vehicle is overloading the network. But in distributed denial of service attack, the attacker is more intelligent. It keep changing the location, changing its ID. It keep on changing it different IDs, and using the different ID, it is overloading the network. So the attacker is so much intelligent that it is changing its personality every time and overloading the network. So this makes the tracing of the attacker quite difficult. We would not be able to trace who is the person or who is the vehicle that is creating a lot of traffic on the network. But in DOS attack, we can actually trace or check which is the vehicle which is creating a lot of traffic on the network by sending unnecessary packets. So in that, we can detect the attacker node, but over here, detecting the attacker node in the DOS attack is quite difficult. Why it's difficult? Because the attacker is changing its IDs very frequently. Then comes the spamming attack. To consume the bandwidth of network, to unnecessarily make the network busy and to consume its bandwidth, to overload the network, attacker can send a random advertisement informations like messages and overload the network, and gradually, since our network becomes overloaded, the network becomes slow in sending the packets, and as a result, when packet rate decreases, we send more packets on the network because our previous packets are not being received by the receivers. So we send again those packets. So as a result, our total congestion in the network takes place. Then is black hole attack. Black hole attack is when a node refuses to participate in a network, or a node knowingly drops a packet and that node becomes a black hole node. So if there were some vehicles, let me write on the screen. If there were some vehicles, if this vehicle want to communicate with this vehicle, this is the destination, this is the source. And if this node says that I'm not going to forward the packet, though this is the intermittent node, if they say that I'm not going to forward the packet, then definitely this becomes the black node or black hole attack is being done by this node. It is dropping the packet and stopping the packet to reach the destination. That becomes a black hole attack. So this results in data loss definitely, and gradually our network becomes congested. Then a very different type or very important type of attack is Sybil attack. In this type of attack, attacker transmits multiple messages with different IDs. And what is the idea behind this attack? See, if I'm the only vehicle who is telling you, please do not follow this path is overloaded, then you will not believe me, because it's only me who is telling you this information. But if I send this information using different IDs, and you will get to know that, oh, so many vehicles are telling me that this road is congested, I should not follow this route, then definitely I will believe it, that a destination vehicle will believe that definitely the path is congested and will take a different route and will not follow the route on which he was coming. And then in this way, the attacker is giving the illusion of multiple vehicles, and it is enforcing my actual vehicle, the vehicle who was receiving the multiple messages, to take the alternate route, and the road would be empty, would be left blank for the attacker only, right? So in this type of attack, the attacker transmits multiple messages with different IDs to other vehicles. The other vehicle feels that these messages are coming from different vehicles, so definitely there is some jam or some alternate route must be taken. Main task of the attacker is just to provide the illusion, make multiple vehicles to take some alternate route so that the road is left blank for the attacker. The attacker can enjoy himself sitting on that road, right? So this is quite important type of attack. Then is a social attack. Social attack is when you are disturbing the driver or socially, you are attacking him socially. You are sending such messages to the driver that he feels offended. You are making him annoyed. And when he becomes annoyed and he drives in a rigorous way, and it may affect the driving of a person and create problem on the network, right? So this is social attack. Attack is just to confuse the victim by sending unethical and unmoral message so that the driver gets disturbed. The only intention of us or the attacker is to make the driver disturbed so that he reflects that it is driving. The legitimate user reacts and annoyed in a manner after getting such messages, which is the main objective of the attacker. He wants to make the driver annoyed. And this is actually going to affect the driving style of the particular driver, right? So with this, we come to an end of the session. Now I'll be circulating a few questions, and I hope you people would be answering that. So the very first question is, you have to tell me, you can post your messages in the chat box. So which of the following would be false about vehicular ad hoc networks? If you feel the answer is A, that vehicles are the subset of managed, please write A, B, C, D. So when it helps us in providing road safety along with the infotainment, it should be topology. It is topology of when it is highly stable, all of the above. So I'm waiting for your responses. Yes, students, please respond. Send the responses in the chat box. Anyone who can answer this?
Okay, please, all of the audience, if you know the answer, you could write A, B, or C, or D for the answer. To all of the students, we have 114 audiences here, so I believe that there are maybe one or two person know the answer. Oke, mungkin yang tahu jawabannya teman-teman dari mahasiswa, ini jawabannya apa? ditunggu sama narasumbernya. Okay, we have one answer or two. Okay, please, you can continue.
D, I guess. So the student is saying the answer is D. Yes. So, okay. Thank you so much for sending me the response to this question. Yes, Muhammad Poril, you have given the right answer. Yes, the answer is D. Which of the following is true about the vehicular ad hoc network? So till now I have found only one correct answer, that is given by Muhammad Poril. So yes, let's see. Yes, vehicular ad hoc networks are definitely the subsets of MANET. They help in providing the road safety along with infotainment. Topology is highly unstable, and yes, all of the above. Right? Next question, please. Yes, anyone? So, yes. Yes, right, right. Thank you so much for your prompt response. Many of the students have given the right response. Yes, the answer is all of the above. Okay, last question. Last question. Oh, my questions, right. Okay. So the question is, Sybil attack cannot happen in VANET. Sybil attack can happen in VANET. So this statement is false, right? Yes, I'm actually feeling so delighted that all of you are participating so well in the session, in the question answer session. Thank you, everyone. I actually felt that you have learned something from this session. Thank you, students. So with this, we come to the end of this session. Now over to you, ma'am. Thank you so much for your patience listening and giving me the responses in a very good manner, very interactive manner. Yes, it was an interactive session. Thank you so much, the University of Amikom and the students as well. And kudos to the organizers of this session. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ma'am Nitika Kapur. It was a very nice session, I believe. And let's move to the next session. We have question and answer, and we'll have another discussion here. So please, all of the audience, if you have some questions, you can raise your hand or you can write it in the chat box. Okay. Okay, so we actually have one question written in the chat box, and it is written in Indonesia. I will try my best to
I am not able to understand that.
Sure. I will try my best to translate it. So, VANET is a kind of a Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, 3G or 4G. So when VANET installed in the vehicle, in the moving vehicle, with how to say several velocity, and let's say, wait a minute, I will read it first. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
May I help you, Mbak Ninda?
Oh, sure. Yeah,
Okay.
thank you, Pak Alpha.
It's Satya.
Oh, Satya. Okay, Mas Satya. Okay.
Yeah, the handsome guys from Amikom.
I know you
Okay.
are.
So, Miss Nitika,
Yes.
when we talk about the connection through Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, and it's using in the vehicle that maybe in the high speed, is it have a problem in the connection in Indonesia? Sometimes they drive so fast and we lost the connection in mobile phone. So Is it happen in VNet also or not?
Yes, a very good question, sir. See, as I mentioned that the vehicles are moving in very fast, vehicles are moving very fast and in different directions, though the direction can only be the forward and the backward most of the times. Yes, this is the challenge where the vehicle ad hoc networks are still uh, like it is the most challenging research area for the vehicular ad hoc network, how to maintain the connection stable, how to keep the connection stable. This is the only reason that is you can say the disadvantage that is being faced by the vehicular ad hoc networks, that the connection is not stable. Like if you talk about, if you are connected, you have connected your phone with your laptop, so that is a kind of minute when you're traveling your connection would be breaking. And why it is breaking? Because sometimes you're entering the region where the you can say the range is not so high, so good. So this the same thing is being faced by the vehicular ad hoc network, since the vehicles are moving so fast. If let's say I can I share my whiteboard? If you see that
Sure.
this is vehicle, these are some vehicles in vehicular ad hoc networks. There are some roadside units as well. So if this vehicle is communicating with this vehicle, though they are not in range, so who is going to provide us the connectivity is through either the roadside units, or let us say that this is one cluster and this is another cluster. So let's say this cluster head would be communicating with this cluster head, but these vehicles are not stable. Maybe this is moving to this direction and this is moving. Probably, if it is moving in the same direction, then stability would be there. But if this is moving in the opposite direction, definitely the network is not going to be stable. And this is the challenge, and most of the research is going on in this field, how to keep the connection stable. Maybe there are various cluster head selections, cluster head selection algorithms that would be selecting such a cluster head, which is let's say we can associate a machine learning over here. We can we can check the past experience of this vehicle. What is the past record of this vehicle? If this vehicle has always been moving in this direction, let's say you take the example like this is your vehicle and every day you are traveling to your university in this direction only. So I can make you cluster head, or I can make your vehicle as cluster head. Why? Because you are going to past record shows that you are always going in this direction only. So today also you will be going in this direction and you will be the best cluster head, which would be giving the better stability in the network. So this is the open area for research. So most of the challenge in the vehicular ad hoc network is only the stability. I hope I have answered your question, Satya. Satya sir.
Okay. Aman Mas Ilham?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes,
Yes.
thank
Did I
you.
answer? Did I
Yes,
answer
you
your
are.
question?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, do you have another questions from the audience? Sure. Mas Ilham, boleh mau tanya lagi. So we have another question from Mas Ilham. Well,
Okay.
okay.
Again, it's written in Indonesian language. I
Yes.
cannot understand it.
Well, since my area is in urban planning, I believe Satya could translate it better. Mas Satya bisa.
Okay, yeah, I
Yes,
help you
yes.
because my question is a little bit similar with Ilham
Okay, good,
question.
good.
It's about how we identify the user in the VNet. How we sure that that's the correct information, the correct package sent from the user in the VNet. For the example, if it's related to my question, if we can't maybe identify this is the real user or not, is it we can send the fake package that, for the example, if we want to drive the other's car to the some route, so we send the false information that this road is closed, you have to go in this road. So it will be the assassination tools in the future, I think, if we cannot identify the user. So how the fanatics identify the user? Is it just find the IP or the MAC address or anything?
Good question. Yes. Since you're talking about how to identify the legitimate vehicle or the user, that we are getting the message from the legitimate vehicle or not. So, first thing I would say, RSU plays a vital role over here in the roadside unit. We can create, let me just again share my screen. Yes. Now the question was how to identify the legitimate user. Over here, I would say that RSU plays a vital role. I'm not able to write. Yes. So if this is my RSU and these are the vehicles, so RSU would be, if this vehicle is communicating with this vehicle, RSU would be monitoring the traffic and it would be creating a database. It may, to enhance the security, we may create the database at the RSU that this vehicle sent the information to this vehicle and this information was found to be right. So we can note the identity of this vehicle and we may write it as, yes, this is the right vehicle, this is the true vehicle, it has not sent the any wrong information. Let's say later on this vehicle sent the message to this vehicle and this is an attacker vehicle and this message turned out to be the wrong information. There can be some kind of feedback that everyone can give. Let's say this vehicle got the information from this vehicle that there is a roadblock ahead, but later on this vehicle came to know that yes, this information was false, it was falsely sent to me. Then this vehicle will notify that this particular ID vehicle, let's say this ID is 5, vehicle number 5 should be blocked. So the RSU maintains the table and it may later on when the message comes on, it may broadcast this message to all the vehicles that if you are getting a message from vehicle number 5, please do not accept, please do not believe to that. So this is how we are going to differentiate between the right vehicle, legitimate vehicle or the attacker's vehicle. I hope I have answered the question.
Okay, so the RSU is like make a database the ID of the user of the vehicle, right?
Yes, RSU is going to create a database and this database can be replicated to the cloud as well. I hope you understand what is a cloud service.
Yeah,
Clouds, cloud, all the RSUs can submit or can send their data to the cloud and that data becomes a centralized data and every vehicle would know which is the legitimate vehicle. Let's say if I talk about the city, um, this RSU belongs to this particular range. This RSU belongs to this particular range. This RSU has uploaded the vehicle data on the cloud. This RSU has
Okay.
also uploaded the vehicle data on the cloud. Now, when new vehicle enters this range, then he may request the RSU that please give me the information about a particular vehicle, whether it's legitimate or not. And this type of information can be used for uh, protecting a vehicle from some such attacks.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there any other questions? Okay, we have another question here. Thankfully, written in English from Lutfiansa Yusuf. So what are the ways Vanet
Yes,
manage
yes.
the
What?
privacy of users when all of their driving related information are shared through the network?
See, Lutfician, and this is what I just discussed, that how the privacy of the users would be dealt in vehicular ad hoc network. See, again, I'll be using the board for this. This is your own decision that you want to participate in the vehicular ad hoc network or not, because the onboard unit is installed in your vehicle. If this is your vehicle, if this is your vehicle, this is another vehicle, this is another vehicle. Every vehicle is having the onboard unit. So it is up to you. You will decide whether your OBU gets registered with the RSU or not. If you want your information to be private, you cannot register for this process. But yes, if a person has registered and is a part of vehicular ad hoc network, then every information it has to check the RSU or request the RSU for providing the legitimate information. Right? So the RSU plays a major role in providing the security as well as providing the, you can say, privacy to the user. Yes, Yusuf? Right?
Mana Mas Yusuf? Sudah cukup jelas?
Yes, it is up to the user to believe that information or not. Because randomly the vehicle would be getting information from other vehicle. It is up to you to believe it. And if, let's say you are getting the information from some illegitimate vehicle, then you need to, before believing it, you need to contact the RSU.
Okay, Mas Yusuf, sudah okay? Yep, thank you for the answer. If the audience, do you still have any other question? Sure, you can ask the last question from Ilham Fajrin.
Yes. Whether when technology can assist the police in providing, yes, definitely. If some vehicle is performing, let's say some vehicle is carrying a thief, a thief is driving a vehicle in a very random manner or very fast, which is offensing the rules of a traffic, then definitely the RSU is going to monitor that and alert all the upcoming toll plazas or wherever the police persons are available. It will alert that this particular vehicle is overspeeding or this particular driver activities are not as per the standard activities. He's behaving in an abrupt manner. The activities will be you can say monitored and particular vehicle can be caught at that point.
Okay, thank you for all of the questions and the answers. If you don't have any other questions, I believe that this is the last questions from Ilhan Fajrin. Okay, unfortunately, we are coming to the end of our time for the first sessions. And thank you very much, Vanitika Kapoor. Your material is very enlightening, I believe. Then it is also a new thing for me because I'm coming from urban planning, and I remember a lot about smart city and smart transportations. That's why I have like a lot of questions in my head. Maybe I'll contact you in person.
Yes,
to ask.
sure, anytime, ma'am.
That's the question. Okay, so Before we end our first session, I will sum up some of the highlighted materials. Correct me if I'm wrong. So when it primarily assists us for a safety driving, and it's give a network between the vehicle and as well the infrastructure. So it is a real-time traffic, and all of the components could be installed in the roadside unit and as well on the onboard unit. And the communication is between all of the vehicle to vehicle and as well as the vehicle to the infrastructure. And our speaker also explained about several attacks that I believe will become the next challenge for these systems. And that's why, because all of the challenges, we should how to say carefully installed that system, because it is connected to human life, and also all of the information should be keep it in private or in a secret. I believe that several things that I could highlight. And to end this sessions, I will say thank you very much once again for our speaker, Ma'am Nitika Kapoor. We are very glad to having you here. And we are having a great discussion at the end of the session. And I believe that all of this discussion enlightened all of our audience today. So thank you very much. I will give the session back to our host.
Thank you, ma'am. It was a pleasure to be here. It's virtual, but still it was a great experience. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Yusuf, for the compliments, and Satya too. Thank you so much. And the audience were wonderful. They have listened to me patiently. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. And I'm giving the session back to Mbak Rona, our host.
Okay, thank you so much, Mrs. Nitika Kapoor, and also Kak Gardias Bidari Aninda. Thank you so much. And we move to the next session. And this session, we have a speaker. He is a Secretary of Master of Informatics Engineering of Distance Learning Program of Amikom University. And he have a topic, Artificial Intelligence AI for Cybersecurity. And his name is Mr. Alfa Hendi Muhammad, STMN, PhD. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Marona. I believe still morning, right? So good morning, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Just wait a second.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Yeah, I will share my presentation this morning. Okay, can you see my slide?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. This is such a great opportunity to me to share my understanding related to this topic. My name is Alfa Hendi Muhammad. Like I already said before, I am from Department of Informatics Engineering. I am the secretary at the distance learning program at magister level at Universitas Amikom Yogyakarta. So my presentation this morning is going to talk about how the AI transforming cybersecurity. So let me start with the agenda of my presentation. There are three things here. First, I want to introduce you to AI, and following by the challenge of managing cybersecurity. And finally, in the last part, we will discuss about AI transformation in cybersecurity. Well, so let me start with a few quotes from individuals that we all respect, starting from Elon Musk. I believe all of us already know him. So, will artificial intelligence be the end of us, or will it be significant to improve our lives? Well, according to Elon, it can be both. He believes that AI, it could be terrible or it could be great. But one thing's for sure, we will not control it. So yeah, human will not control AI. And different with Elon, Bill Gates tend to worry little about the threat posed by AI. He's a little bit pessimistic here. He said that humans should be worried about the threat posed by artificial intelligence. Okay, lastly, I have a quote from the CEO of Google, Sundar Pichai, and I agree with him. He's very optimistic with AI. He believes that AI probably the most important thing humanity has ever worked on. My perspective on AI is similar with Pichai. Okay, so I will start with the why we can go from Industrial 1 to Industrial 4. As a matter of fact, if you look back at the first Industrial Revolution, it was all about replacing the muscle with the machine. Okay, and then the second wave, the second Industrial Revolution, we replaced the machine with a stronger machine. And then the third, we do it again, we replace machine with more accurate machine. So they never get tired. Now we reach the fourth Industrial Revolution. Now here, we use AI. We use AI, and then the revolutions begin. We're trying to do something similar by putting human brains into machine. Why we do that? Because we want machine to become smart, to become smarter. So they can capable to do much faster, they can do more accurate, and they're able to think at a larger scale. While AI may seem like a futuristic concept, but actually it's not. The reality is that AI is already around us every day. So what AI does in our real life? Well, the reality is AI already around us everywhere. You look, starting with shopping online, shopping prediction in Shopee, this is based on AI. The system will recommend everything related to your shopping history, related with your searching, something you browse, something you like, something you open, something you compare. They will suggest based on your location, based on the best price, the popularity, etc. So they use AI to recommend the potential things for you, so you can buy things that something even we never imagine. Why I buy this? Why I buy that? Just because of the best recommendation from the online shopping. And then we have personal helpers or assistant. It's already around us, like Amazon Alexa, Google Assistant, Cortana, Siri. Well, they are actually capable to do like human. They can suggest agenda, they can answer your question, they can do anything you ask just by our voice command. And lastly, maybe still a little Indonesia, but you already know that we already has autonomous self-driving car. So like Tesla in this example around us. So with AI technology, with machine learning technology, they can drive without our interaction, without human interaction. This thing is not exist a few years ago, maybe new around 5 or 10 years ago, but they are now around us and very rapid. The growth very rapid. I already take us to the next level. So now we understand that everybody is talking about AI. Everyone is talking about AI everywhere. We use AI. In fact, we're not just talking about it. We're actually putting our money, our mind, our research invested into AI technology. Even in our university at Amikom, especially in postgraduate department, we have decided to focus on AI. Why? Because we believe that AI is the future. So again, we believe that AI are capable to solve many of our human problems in the future. So what kind of AI we're talking about? I'll start with insight about what makes a computer intelligent. Now I have a question. What makes a computer intelligent? In fact, if we are going to talk about AI, we are not just talking about it, but the biggest subset of AI. We talk about machine learning, which is a subset of AI. We also talk about deep learning, which is a subset of machine learning. And these three technology already transform our daily life. Let's start with setting the scene by explaining what I say is difference between AI, machine learning, and also deep learning. Okay, AI in short is a computer with ability to reason as human. So this is a very broad concept, I understand, but this is like a science of making smart things. Yeah, so this is like a science of how we could, how a machine could perform like human. And then a subset of AI, you have a machine learning. Machine learning is an approach, yeah, it's an approach to use AI that use a system that is capable of learning from experience. So we try to give data, we try to give the context into the machine, and then the algorithm will work and they're able to learn without being explicitly programmed. The last thing, we also have deep learning here. It is a set of technique from machine learning to that recognize a pattern of pattern, like image recognition, and they can adapt itself. So in short, we have deep learning, machine learning as a subset of artificial intelligence. Okay, the artificial intelligence itself, if we look back when the AI first invited, I believe it's in 1950s, it evolves rapidly. The first just knowledge representation. So how we can represent knowledge in a computer, and then it grow. So it goes to machine reasoning, and then it goes again into our human aspect, like speech recognition, and then visual, and then language, and then other aspect that growth directly affected by the domain of the expert. So we might ask, if this technology already exists 30, 50 years ago, yeah, it's actually not new. We already know it 30 or 50 years ago. But why all the new level of technology that we have studied before exists? Yeah, just a short years ago. Like I said before, autonomous car is new. Yeah, maybe we never look in Indonesia, but we still believe it exists. The answer for this question is the condition is different between now and then. We need to ask ourselves something, yeah? Why now? Why not in the back? The reason is most likely because of this three key. The first is a storage. Yeah? We are now capable of storing gigantic amount of data. Yeah, and then we already have a great computation. Now we have access to compute power that has previously dreamed and capable actually process those gigantic data we have collected before. And lastly, we have math or algorithm. This is the important thing. The math that drives all the new sophisticated algorithm, and with the AI, we could process this vast amount of data. We could bring new insight that we never imagined before in the past. This is interesting because by using AI, we can search through large pile of data, looking for patterns that human would never notice before. So in other words, we teach the program to teach itself. And here the data is the key. 50 years ago, we didn't have data. There's no data. There's no single storage can store the data. But now we have. We can process it. We have the algorithm. So this AI techniques will not work without a large collection of the data. When using the data, we no longer program an algorithm to tell the computer how to solve a given problem. No, but instead, the computer program itself will teach the computer to learn how to solve the problem. That's why the result is something behind our imagination. That's interesting with the AI. Okay, and then we move to our second agenda. What is the challenge in cybersecurity? Okay, I will start with defining the term of cybersecurity first, because this is a general term. Maybe some of you already heard before, but I want to give the definition so we have the same perspective about what is the cybersecurity. As I said before, many definitions have slide about cybersecurity, but in short, we could say that it is the practice of deploying people, policies, processes, and also technologies to protect organization, their critical system, and sensitive information from digital attack. So cybersecurity is a general term actually. We use this general term to characterize, collect all of the activities, policies, procedure, and tools in order to protect information, in order to protect data. So we combine people, process, technology, to protect all assets that is data or information of an organization in the modern world. That is cybersecurity about. So in implementation, the cybersecurity is very general concept. We can apply it to a physical system, application, data and information, as well as the network, people in organization who use them. There are also multiple things that organization can do to implement cybersecurity protection, including having maybe a good procedure, or maybe training regular staff, deploying access control or authentication, implementing an encryption for the network, or they can install, it's like endpoint protection software to get everything up to date. And cybersecurity is also talk about how we frequently backup and deploy disaster recovery program. So in cybersecurity, we need to secure all and keep all of this aspect, starting from application, information, network, operational, until the prevention detection like disaster recovery. By implementing all of this program, it will allow us to monitor the multiple sources to identify threats to our organization. So again, why do we need a cybersecurity program? Well, all in this digital world, the biggest hole or the weakest point is often us as human being. So it will be back to us as human being. Sometimes we are not aware that there is an information from anywhere internet, and we don't know the consequence behind it. See a scenario of this example. This is the Amazon website. What happens if we enter our credential here, like username and password? Of course, this is not the real Amazon. We can see from the link. This is fake, and this homepage is a fake. But sometimes we accidentally click a link from email, from WhatsApp, from Facebook, from Twitter, anything, and then it will redirect us to here, and without our understanding, we enter our username and password here. You can imagine what will happen next. Yes, someone will get something you enter here. that is your username and the password. We also have email similar like this. Usually, from unknown from someone send you the information related to billing, related to statement billing, related to information related to update to something. This is phishing fake emails. We know this is have many audit, but sometimes people doesn't understand the consequence behind it. So if you have, let's say, a company, you have to do regular like security training, security awareness. You have to train your people, you have to train your staff, so they can minimize the potential of your data being hacked or your identity being stolen in an organization. Because this is simple, but many people still can get fall from this trap. Okay, so what is the goal of the cybersecurity program? The goal is we want to protect your data. We want to protect organizational data. We want to protect system. And we have a basic rules here that you must adhere to this rule. The basic rule are something we know as CIA, that is confidentiality, integrity, and also availability. We understand this as a CIA triad. So let's take a moment to discuss this one by one. First, confidentiality from the C. So confidentiality will give you, you have to ensure that information only available to the intended audience. So when we talk about confidentiality, we usually including privacy of the information. That may be personal or sensitive information. What can we do to improve the confidentiality? Well, usually we protect data and make protection from unauthorized access, also unauthorized use and disclosure. We can also protect data from resetting system when in transit or when in the process. And then comes to data integrity. So protecting data integrity is also a concern that company needs. It is a sustain that information does not become inaccurate because of unintended change. So the task here is to enforce integrity. We should detect alteration that has occurred in storage, in transit, or also in the process. And lastly, we have availability. This means that you have to ensure that data or services will always be available for everyone that needed that access to the information, to the necessary information. So we can answer by enforcing authorized access, accept only true user. We also can use fault tolerance. We also need to provide backup and also prevent data from loss and destruction. So what is the challenge? The core are easy, but the realization is not. This is because the threat has been evolved and changed over times. The world has changed. The instrument and interconnected world has affected the cybersecurity domain. The organization is also complex. Citizen demanding everything to be secure, and also compliance and regulation often lead to response to cyber security incident. This is the challenge that lie behind the cybersecurity. This things just makes difficult. As we can see, the threat has been evolved from the 19th is just a virus, maybe a worms or email spamming everywhere. Then in the 20s, all organizations started to digitalize their asset, so information has been the main target here. That's why the attack mainly focused on hacking the company website, stolen credential data, attack through network by disabled service by using DOS, and more worms. Okay, and then we entered the social networking era in 2010s. We started to have problem with many available identity. So we started to have problem with identity phishing. There is also a significant rise in the cybercrime focus on mobile platform, social networking sites, clouds, IoT, or ransomware, and also the organizational crimes. The present and the future of cyber threat is likely to be similar with the previous, but we believe that the threat vector and attack will be developed with unique implementation because we already have a lot of emerging technologies such as IoT, cloud, virtual machine, and also blockchain. So the attack vectors such as phishing and social engineering will be stay. And the cryptojacking will be happen, I believe anytime soon. Following with global ransomware outbreaks, actually it's already happened in some part of the Europe and also America. So next, not only the attack, and the threat that have been evolved, but also the security itself has been evolved. Since the age of the first network, we have layer defense. We have technology that called layer defense. It means we make several layers to protect our assets. So we protect assets behind the firewall, behind another firewall, behind another machine. That's the first that's the first form of cyber security. And then the second evolution is intelligence and integration. Intelligence integration capable to leverage analytics. We try to collect information, we try to understand the massive amounts of real-time data, and then we prioritize event. We detecting the weight, which is the risk, which is not. That's what happened with the second evolution of the security, that is intelligence and integration. Of course, it can't be happen here without any help of AI. We already use AI here because we already have data. We can use we use algorithm. We use AI here. And lastly, the cybersecurity will evolve into cloud, AI, and concentration, and also collaboration. Cloud means you don't have to bring your own computer. You can use someone's computer else. That's the simplest. It can help your organization. It can help a company to plan, to deploy, and also to manage security. And with AI and orchestration, it also help to understand what data, what process, what technology behind we need to overcome the problem, and also the collaboration. We need to collaborate. We crowdsource the data. We share the data. It will help us to improve the cybersecurity program. Okay, and lastly, we will move to the last agenda, which is AI in cyber security. So basically, AI-based cybersecurity tasks can be divided into 5 jobs. That is prediction, detection, monitoring, prevention, and also response. We can use AI for this job. For example, we can use, if you know, a regression algorithm to predict the network packet parameters and then compare them with the normal one. We can use classification to identify classes of the network attack, such as scanning, spooning. And we also can use regression. We can use to predict like system call with a real one. For the detection, we can use AI technologies such as okay, thank you. For detection, we also can use AI like regression to detect anomalies in HTTP requests, also classification to detect unknown attack like injection, and then for monitoring, prevention, response, we actually already have the technology through IDS, or also IPS, intruder detection system, intruder prevention system. By using deep learning, CNN, we can apply a smarter IDS and also IPS system. Okay, then in order to get the best result, so we already have AI. It requires to think two works. It requires to think. The first is a data, and I don't mean just any data. We need a lot of data that need to be rich enough so it can cover the entire scope of the entire versatility of the problem we are trying to address. The second is the expertise. We need two types of expertise here. We need AI expertise, people that they understand mathematics, they can tune the algorithm, and we also need the domain expertise. In this case, we need someone who understands cybersecurity well. So, in order to solve a problem, we need someone that expert in the domain. For example, if we want to develop AI-based personal health assistant, we need to consult with the doctor, right? You can get any insight if you consult with me, because I'm not a doctor, I'm not a physician, I don't understand about health. If we want to do a proper speech recognition, we need somebody that understand human speech. And if we want to do image recognition, we need somebody that understand photography, digital photography, and also it happened to the security. If we want to apply AI to cybersecurity, yes, we will need somebody that understand the cybersecurity landscape and also how the AI works. The problem is the security knowledge is like the iceberg. So the traditional security data is only on the surface. It already include like security event like log and configuration data, user and network activity. That's just a little of information that available on the surface. In fact, many knowledge generated from human are drawn under the surface. That information actually available in form of research document, industrial publication, forensic information, and so on. Even we can get knowledge related with the cybersecurity from a personal blogs, from tweets, from newsletter. So experts often generated their knowledge everywhere, every time through this media, and that's a problem. We cannot collect all of the information real time. We don't know what happened with Android at this moment. Does there's any new vulnerability with our devices, with our mobile phone? We cannot understand that because that happens so fast, and often the information is lie under surface like this illustration. And today's reality, it will be the irony. Data is often overload. It's either overload or not available at all. Yeah, and often organizations don't have enough data. They don't have enough data. They don't have expertise to access the cybersecurity training. Collecting data is extremely difficult. Yeah, it's certainly difficult. When our organization is still small, yeah, we simply don't need that kind of cybersecurity data. There is no public domain data that is relevant that we can use. We can use to train our algorithm. On the other hand, when the data overload, we have a lot of data, it could become useless. It can become useless to train the algorithm if we don't understand the context. So access to data is the key, and still it's very difficult. And we can only see the amount of the data that we need, but we couldn't solve all of the problem. This led to point number 2, that is unaddressed threat. We're trying to solve all issue with AI system, but the verdict is that AI system do not tend to explain themselves. So we can just either just manually validate every verdict that we have offered, or we take the certain leap by trusting the system to take the decision. If we let the decision back to humans, sometimes they don't know where to focus. They don't have time for quickest response. That's why we left the decision to the system. So this still has been the key. Lastly, we have a problem with the skill shortage. This has happened not only in developed countries like in Indonesia, but it happened everywhere. It's not easy to find skillful worker that understand the problem in cyber security. The goals of AI-based security operation actually simple. Regardless of the facts, the goal are to ensure how the business thrives, and that means that we should protect the critical system and also the data to stay compliant. We also need to stop into threat and staying ahead of cybercrime. We also need to respond to incident accurately and quickly to prevent further damage. And lastly, we need to outing the cybercriminal. What will an attacker do? We should overcome this before they do it. That is the goal of the AI-based security operation. So how AI-based security will solve this kind of problem? All of this algorithm, the machine learning, the AI, with big data we have, all of this are actually revolutionary. All of them has revolutionized the cybersecurity itself because they are offering us the opportunity. They give us opportunity to address the real problem at much larger scale. They are allowing us, they are helping us to automate tasks. Yeah, we could imagine before, but we can do it with AI. Okay, and for example, there are very few This is allow us to automate tasks that were previously handled by human analysts and also smart one. And then there are very few people around us maybe that can actually use the information from the AI system. So there's all things that can do with AI. We can do all of this with AI. These are the gap that the AI-based cybersecurity trying to bridge. First, human expertise. We will not need the help of human expertise. We can let the system think, and then also how to analyze the data, and then how to recognize the form of security we can train by the system. Okay, on the last segment of my presentation, I will have a look which AI technology available at the moment that offer the benefit, the most advanced technology in the market in the most practical as possible. Okay, this is the example of our discussion. This is the example of how a traditional based signature comparing to intelligent based signature. The traditional one works by analyzing how thread looks rather than what the actual thread does. That's different. So in traditional, the threads will be fine if the system already have the pattern before. But with AI-based signature, they will find all the thread by analyzing the pattern. What is the common pattern? What is the similar behavior? What is the potential damage that possible from the thread? The system will analyze all of that. Then the important thing is that in AI-based system, they will learning over time, not only snapshot in time. So through learning, they will develop context, they will develop understanding for further use. That's the comparison between the traditional and also the AI. I'll give you the first demonstration. This is the video. Okay, I'll play the video. Okay, actually this is a penetration testing activity, but using AI. I believe this is from an Indian startup. They develop cloud-based technology. They use machine learning, semi-supervised learning model, so they can navigate, they can interact with the internet just like an intelligent human being. So as you can see, the system is interact with the web just like human. This is the system, not human. But they could discover around 10 vulnerabilities in LinkedIn website. They just use bot input that combine with the machine learning. Okay, and then
it starts with a network. Here we see a representation of a network where dots are servers and lines, the edges, are packets flowing between those servers. Except in this network, Morpheus is deployed. This enables AI inferencing across your entire network, including east-west traffic. The particular model being used here has been trained to identify sensitive information, AWS credentials, GitHub credentials, private keys, passwords. If observed in the packet, these would appear as red lines, and we don't see any of that. Uh-oh, what happened? An updated configuration was deployed to a critical business app on this server. This update accidentally removed encryption, and now everything that communicates with that app sends and receives sensitive credentials in the cloud. This can quickly impact additional servers. This translates to continuing exposure on the network. The AI model in Morpheus is searching through every packet for any of these credentials, continually flagging when it encounters such data. And rather than using pattern matching, this is done with a deep neural network trained to generalize
Okay,
and
so
identify patterns beyond static rule sets.
this is Morpheus. This is open application framework from NVIDIA. This will enable the developer to create optimized AI pipeline for filtering, processing, and also classifying large volume of real-time data. They will enable the dynamic protection and also adaptive defense for detecting and also remediating cyber security threats.
Notice all of the individual lines. It's easy to see how quickly a human could be overwhelmed by the vast amount of data coming in. Scrolling through the raw data gives a sense of the massive scale and complexity that is involved. With Morpheus, we immediately see the lines that represent leaked sensitive information. By hovering over one of those red lines, we show complete info about the credential, making it easy to triage and remediate. But what happens when this remediation is necessary? Morpheus enables cyber applications to integrate and collect information for automated incident management and action prioritization. Originating servers, destination servers, actual exposed credentials, and even the raw data is available. This speeds recovery and informs which keys were compromised and need to be rotated. With Morpheus, the chaos becomes manageable.
Okay. Can you imagine? Maybe we as a human cannot process with our brain, but the computer can. The model enable the creation of the pattern, and also they can create the profile of a network at a massive scale. So it could help us as human to protect our network that we could never imagine before. Okay, lastly, this is about the metaverse.
Facebook is planning to rebrand itself with a new name to focus on the metaverse. South Korean millennials and Gen Z are also gathering in virtual alternative worlds. The term metaverse is fast becoming a buzzword in tech and business. But do you know what it means? Here's Reuters' Elizabeth Halcroft.
So the word metaverse is quite a broad term, but generally it refers to online spaces that allow people to interact in a more immersive way than a traditional website. This could be through the use of virtual reality, so wearing a VR headset, but people also use the term metaverse to refer to virtual environments where you have an avatar, like a little cartoon person representing yourself, and you can walk around and interact with other people's avatars, like in a video game.
Fans of the metaverse see it as the next stage in the development of the internet. CEO Mark Zuckerberg said in July that Facebook will transition from being a social media company to a metaverse company in the next 5 years. They've already invested heavily in developing virtual and augmented reality headsets and glasses, and will reportedly create 10,000 jobs in the European Union to bring their metaverse plans to life.
We shouldn't really have to physically be together to feel present or collaborate or brainstorm.
And Facebook is certainly not alone. Other investors and companies are getting excited about being a part of the next big thing. The term metaverse is popular in Silicon Valley, with Microsoft also talking about converging the digital and physical worlds.
Because of the global health crisis, over the past 18 months, more people have been working from home and going to school remotely, spending a lot more time online and missing out on human interaction. At the moment, we connect with people who aren't physically near us by going to websites such as social media platforms or using messaging apps and video calls. But now some people think there's more demand for online spaces where people's interactions can be more multi-dimensional and lifelike, allowing people to immerse themselves in digital content rather than simply viewing it.
There is also a specific type of metaverse which uses blockchain technology, the same technology that's behind Bitcoin. One of such blockchain-based virtual worlds is Decentraland. In there, users can buy digital assets such as clothes and even land using cryptocurrencies. Fashion companies are noticing the trend. experimenting with making virtual clothing which people's avatars can wear in metaverse environments.
Okay, can you imagine in the future we will have a metaverse? Although this is not new term, it is maybe 10 years ago. Someone already have the idea about virtual reality world or meta universe or metaverse. But can you imagine with the potential security breach with this concept? So maybe it's too early to discuss it because it's still a concept. But I believe that the challenge with this new technology will be similar to what we already familiar on the internet, such as phishing or malware hacking and so on. But the metaverse will bring the entirely new form of cybercrimes because of the infrastructure. Metaverse is heavily centered on the use of cryptocurrency and also NFTs. Both can be attractive for the attacker for a reason. I know it's still too early to discuss this potential security based on metaverse, but I believe that there is no one can answer the question of how to make the metaverse a safer place. Just like the internet, there will likely always be a certain level of anonymity that will protect criminal, and we should increase the regulation of the metaverse as early as possible. However, again, this is not easy as said because cybersecurity usually concern often out long after the technology itself entered to the market.
Facebook.
Okay, in summary, I have three closing statements here about AI and cybersecurity. First, algorithms are getting smarter, but experts are more important. And then, history is not a predictor, but knowledge is. And lastly, understand your data, your algorithms, and also your learning process. Okay, thank you. The time is up. I give the time to Rona. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Alpha, for your sharing knowledge. It's really, you're very knowledgeable, and that's all is useful for us. And then we to the next session is a Q&A session. If you have a question, you can type it in the chat Zoom, or you can raise hand if you want to ask Mr. Alpha Handy by yourself. Okay, but before we go to the Q&A session, I have a question too. Can I ask to you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So AI is we all know that AI is helping people so much, and I'm curious, how far is AI is involved in handling COVID-19, because this pandemic is getting more spreading, and how AI can handling it.
Okay, thank you. This is interesting. And with AI we can predict anything, but AI is based on data. So without data, we cannot do anything insightful for us. In case of COVID-19, I believe that we already enter into third year, and we already have a lot of data. For example, with our current data, our current background, we can predict the future about the rate of the spread, the virus spread in an area, and we can also consider like the percentage of vaccine people in that area, and then we also can consider maybe the new variant like Omicron and so on and so on. So it will be useful even for the COVID-19 if we already have the data. And the problem with our country is some data is not available. I believe it will be useful if we have larger data, and we can get the trend. We can predict the future from based on the previous information.
Oh, okay. So it based on our data. So it's kind of our data. Is it our data is safe, or maybe someone can use this data for predict something, but sometimes when we upload something in the internet, all of them can get the data. Is it our data is safe, or I don't know?
Yeah, that's the problem with the open data. In one in one aspect, we need everyone anywhere in the world to can use our data, so they can help us and give us better insight into the pattern of the data. But on the other hand, there's always a high risk about the security itself, and it happens all the time, Rona. We cannot stop that. We have to adapt with that. So we have to differentiate the credential data, what can we put on our social media and what are not.
Yes.
Understand that.
Okay. So maybe Mr. Alpha, we all agree that there are a lot of benefits of AI, but yeah, maybe you can tell about the disadvantage, atau maybe we have to more increase our self-awareness, or maybe I don't know what is the disadvantage of AI itself. There are.
Okay, let audit that before. There are many advantages of AI. We can use it for everything in our life. But again, it's work based on the data. It's work based on the domain. The expert now try to bring the knowledge from one domain enter into another domain, and sometimes they will get new insight from them. For example, if we discuss about the recommendation system in let's say e-commerce, it's not new technology. Netflix already used it before. Google already used it before to suggest the answer from our question. But again, this is become interesting when we try to implement that algorithm into a new domain. Same with maybe healthcare domain, which is COVID-19. We can use our way to predict, like say predict stocks, prediksi saham maksud saya Mbak Rona, predict stock, predict money, predict currency. We can use that same way. We can use that technology to predict how fast the disease will spread in our country in the context of COVID-19. We can use that insight. So interestingly, I've said before that AI have growth long. It's already here about 50 years, but the data is new. So we always can get a new insight from new data. That's interesting.
Okay.
But again, some data maybe is not available for free, and that's the challenge for us.
Okay. Okay. So our data is not just what we type in our social media, but also the picture of ourselves, or everything that we upload in internet.
Yeah, everything in the net is the data, the picture, the text. For the text, we not only understand the context, but we can predict the nuance behind it. For example, when we use emoticon, yeah, when we use emotion, when
Yes.
we use memes,
Yes.
what does it mean? We can predict that with the we try to understand like perasaan, apa perasaan?
Feelings.
Feelings from the text.
Yes. Oh, okay. Okay. So we can also predict about the netizen comment in our when we have a content and they give a reaction, we can predict that the content is good or not using AI.
Yeah, we can use sentiment analysis, and this is an interesting topic for students. Many of our students take thesis or scriptsy about sentiment analysis. From this algorithm, we can try to understand the affective states. We try to understand the feelings from the text. This is interesting. And this is just the beginning. I believe in the future, we will have it. It can be used to help a chatbot or personal assistant to understand our feeling. So we can share our problem, ya, curhat, gitu.
Okay, and maybe how about if kita jadi apa ya, ketika using social media jadi lebih bijak dalam menulis dan lain sebagainya, because we doesn't know that all of them is watching our apa ya, pergerakan apapun di sosial media. Bahkan mungkin kalau HRD nyari karyawan gitu juga bisa pakai AI ya, Pak?
Iya, betul Mbak. Jadi memang tukar bahasa nggak apa nih?
Aduh, nggak apa-apa.
Memang trennya akan seperti itu dan itu sudah terjadi gitu ya. Kita harus ya mengedukasinya, salah satunya dengan seminar seperti ini. Kita harus bijak menggunakan sosial media gitu ya. Bukan berarti tidak boleh mengekspresikan kebebasan, tidak gitu, tetapi kadang itu akan dimaknai lain oleh seseorang. Terkadang konteks itu justru membahayakan kita. Sudah sering terjadi.
Kalau di second akun nggak apa-apa, Pak?
Solusinya mungkin seperti itu.
Oh iya.
Oke. Numpang di base gitu ya.
Iya. Second account ya. Oke guys, yang mau bertanya boleh kok pakai bahasa Indonesia, it's okay.
Iya, boleh.
Yes. The participant nggak cuma dari India, because our student juga ada yang gabung di sini. Kalau bisa pakai bahasa Indonesia juga nggak apa-apa ya. So untuk acara kali ini juga ada di streamingnya YouTube Amikom Jogja. Jadi kalau mau nonton lagi, rewatch lagi, boleh silahkan ke YouTube Amikom Jogja gitu ya. Okay, there are no question again.
Satya, raise hand.
Oh, Mas Satya raise hand. Okay. Mas Satya silahkan.
Okay, hello, my name is Satya. I'm not from India. Nanti dikira dari India. Okay, so when we talk about security in AI, kalau kita ngomongin tentang security in AI, sometimes in the future, I predict that we will depend on AI so much. Jadi kita akan banyak ketergantungan dengan AI. Apalagi kalau sekarang nggak pakai handphone aja udah bingung gitu kan. In your opinion, Pak Alfa, how far we can manage our dependency on AI? Bagaimana kita tahu batasan kita tuh udah terlalu jauh nih tergantung sama AI gitu kan. Kalau dulu orang tuh apa sih internet? What is internet? Internet is something difficult to understand. But in the now time gitu kan, nobody can live without internet. Bukan nobody juga sih. Nobody live in the city, ya kan? Can live without internet. Tapi kalau pedalaman mungkin mereka masih bisa ya. Tapi bagaimana kita bisa mengatur kita tuh nggak tergantung dengan AI di kedepannya? Seberapa jauh batasannya, Pak Alfa? Terima kasih.
Okay, thank you, Pak Satya. So the answer is like on my last slide, which is algorithm are getting smarter, but expert are most important. So algoritma apapun itu ya, Pak Satya ya, itu bisa membantu kita mempercepat, menganalisis data yang mungkin kita nggak bisa lakukan itu gitu ya. Tetapi itu terkadang tidak bisa memberikan kita makna kalau kita tidak paham di situ. Ya, sebagai contoh ya, tadi diilustrasikan menggunakan node ya, neuron gitu. Nah, kalau kita tidak jeli ya, apa sih perbedaan neuron misalkan dalam satu garis tadi mau representasikan jaringan. Apa perbedaan pergerakan yang cepat dengan yang lambat, kemudian pola pergerakannya ya, yang ke arah mendekati sentral atau menjauhi sentral gitu. Terkadang kalau kita tidak memahami dengan baik, maka kita justru tidak bisa mendapatkan knowledge yang seharusnya gitu loh. Tetapi jika kita hanya mengembalikan itu kepada algoritma, kepada AI-nya, nah tentu itu akan menjadi problem. Makanya di sini yang terpenting sama seperti yang selama ini kita dengan teknologi ya, bukan technology is just a tool, it's just a gun, but the most important thing is the man behind the gun. Ya, jadi kita tidak mungkin menyerahkan hasilnya, mengambil keputusan itu ke AI, tidak mungkin ya. Tetap kita manusia akan berperan banyak di situ ya. Kita yang mengambil insight, kita mengambil kebijakan di situ. Ya memang beberapa sektor mungkin sudah tidak perlu bantuan manusia ya, sama seperti bagaimana realisasi dari autonomous car tadi ya, bagaimana mobil bisa berjalan tanpa bantuan manusia itu nggak bisa, tetapi dalam kondisi tertentu kita jauh lebih cepat mengambil keputusan dan lebih tepat dibandingkan AI itu sendiri. Dan di dalam konteks security itu sering terjadi ya. Mungkin makanya kebenaran itu kan ada kebenaran positif dan kebenaran negatif. Nah, hasil prediksinya itu bisa benar tetapi konteksnya salah gitu ya. Nah, atau bisa benar dan memang benar gitu loh. Jadi memang ada positif-positif, positif-negatif dan seterusnya. Ya, karena memang itu tadi Pak Satya ya, yang memahami konteks itu memang tetap manusianya. Jadi pada akhirnya apakah kita akan tergantung sehingga kita bisa menyerahkan semuanya ke AI? Mungkin di sebagian aspek iya, tetapi menyerahkan keseluruhannya itu tidak mungkin. Ya, tetap ada manusia. Nah, tetapi memang dengan AI itu akan membantu kita. Ya, contohnya yang paling mudah saat ini ya di dalam bidang transportasi itu ya. Jangankan mobil ya, kayak misalkan smart train ya, mungkin di beberapa negara Eropa, Australia, itu fungsi masinis itu sudah bukan mengendarai kereta lagi ya. Nah, itu semua dilakukan oleh mesin, masinis hanya membuka pintu, mengecek apakah penumpangnya dalam kondisi yang benar, apakah ada yang memerlukan bantuan gitu. Tapi ketika sudah jalan semua bisa dikendalikan oleh AI dengan mesin. Nah, jadi kita akan terus berdamai dengan AI seperti itu dalam berbagai hal termasuk dalam cybersecurity ini. Begitu ya, Pak Satya. Pertanyaannya bagus sekali.
Ini sekalian bimbingan tesis ya kayaknya Mas Satya nih.
Bismillah makul Pak Alfa.
Iya.
Amin.
Ini berapa?
Amin. Oke, kita lanjut. Ini masih ada yang raise hand. I think this is the last question from the participant. This ada Kak Suparyati. Halo, selamat siang.
Selamat siang Mbak Rona.
Iya, silahkan Kak Suparyati.
Thank you, Pak Alfa. I'm very interested with metaverse. In the future, will metaverse be able to create a virtual office when we work from home, where we actually meet and interact with our coworker, like work from real office? Right now, work from home cannot be controlled by our superior. In the future, metaverse.
Okay. This is interesting, especially after pandemic COVID-19. The metaverse will be the future that may be available soon, not so long, because we already enjoy our way to work. We can work anywhere. Like today, I work from my home, from my room, but my kids playing around, and sometimes I cannot concentrate because they yell anytime. And metaverse, I believe, will be the universe of the future that we can work inside. We will interact with people. We will do anything we do in the real world. We can do it in metaverse. But the problem with metaverse is more like with who will control it. But to answer this, it is similar with the internet. Who control the internet? Is it the responsibility of the government? Of course, it's not. Or is it the responsibility of the ISP, the vendors, maybe the owner, or is it the responsibility of the Google, the big giant technology? Of course, it's not. It's the responsibility of all of us. And I believe metaverse will be the same. Um, we will have a choose about the currency we use. We have the punya kebebasan ya dalam memilih ya, Bu Suparyati. Jadi ya itu tadi ya, di masa depan sepertinya memang memungkinkan, sangat memungkinkan sekali. Jadi we already enjoy with this new normal. We already enjoy the discussion through Zoom. And can you imagine when we use our 3D version of us in digital version? This will be fun, I believe. Gitu ya, Bu Suparyati.
Thank you very much, Pak Alfa.
Okay. Thank you, Suparyati. And I think this is the last question because sekarang sudah jam 11 siang lewat 10 menit ya. Kalau di India sudah jam 9.30. Okay, so thank you so much for all of you yang sudah join di International Webinar Amikom 2021, and thank you so much for all the speakers, Mrs. Nitika Kapoor and also Mr. Alfa Hendy. Thank you so much for sharing knowledge with us, and thank you so much for Profesor Kusrini yang sudah mendatangkan bestinya untuk sharing dengan kita semuanya. Dan juga terima kasih untuk panitia, Mbak Putri, Mbak Andra, dan Mas Satya, dan lain semuanya di Humas, dan Pak Erik juga. Dan tentu saja jangan lupa untuk presensi untuk mendapatkan sertifikat internasional loh ya. Oke, thank you so much for all of you. Dan sampai jumpa lagi di acara webinar internasional Universitas Amikom Yogyakarta. Siapa tahu di bulan depan ada lagi dengan kolaborasi kampus lain ya. Oke, thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat siang.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih semuanya.
Terima kasih Pak Alfa.
Terima kasih Pak.
Terima kasih Mbak Rona.
Terima kasih Mas Satya.
Bismillah.
Amin. NIM-nya berapa? Catat dulu.
Pamit ya.
Terima kasih Pak.
Iya Pak.
Mak, long time no see, Mak. Terakhir ketemu gibah di Amikom.
I love this city. Everything about it. Food, culture, heritage, people, or how they complete each other. It's like the city is made for young people to learn and to be creative. In this mesmerizing city, I'm glad to be here.
For years, Amikom has tried to make a suitable place for their students to feel more enjoyment in their learning process. We believe that learning is not something that the students should do, but it should be something that they want to do. That's why we always support everything that relates to creative and fun learning activities. It is the essential idea of creativity, associating fun and learning all together.
One thing that I love about this university is that they allow us to experiment and try to make new things. It's okay to make mistakes and learn from them. So that's why they built so many facilities, labs, and also they have professional companies. We call it Professional Lab. We can experience what it is like to be in the real industry, what we need to be, the attitude, the skills, and everything that makes us valuable out there. It's like we are well prepared for something big.
When I first got here, I was completely full of worries. not because of entering a new phase, but about the future. I wasn't sure of what I was supposed to do at that time, but it turns out that everybody does the same. And Amikom made it easier for me. Everybody supports each other. The lecturers, staffs, employees, and all of my friends, they are so lovely. We have sport activities and great facilities. The cafeteria is clean and neat, and the food, they are delicious. We are like coming into a big family.
If you are a person that into creative things, I recommend you to come here to feel the atmosphere.
Enjoy the fun with the combination of nature, the city, and romance.
Join us and let this place reveal the best of you.
Come on, join Universitas Amikom Yogyakarta.